and welcome back to Rory's workshop. Today we are back in my workshop with David's 200 TDI. You'll notice some slight differences from the last episode. I've taken off the fan, I've taken out the glow plugs as well, and I've just sort of started to tidy up and start to lubricate things, ready for me to pull everything off. I thought I'd quickly show you what I've got in stock to throw onto this engine, and things that may have miscalculated. So I've got a timing belt kit for a 200 TDI. Everything that I've got for this engine has come from Baymac because I trust them, as I said before, and everything that you need is in the box. You don't need to sort of worry about it. So I've got a 200 TDI timing belt kit, brand new crankshaft pulley, because this one's done 144,000 miles. So it's probably due to be changed, and we don't know the condition of it. So I'd rather, whilst we've got everything off, I'd rather spend a bit more time and effort pulling everything off whilst we've got good access, replace it. So we've got one of them. Bottom end gasket set. Obviously I'm going to be pulling off the front cover, the water pump and what have you to get access to it. And whilst I'm there, I'll have a look at the crankshaft seal and see what state that's in. And that was not expensive at all, and you get every gasket from I think it's the head down. Things that I've forgotten, naturally, when you order things and you've got a lot on, you tend to forget things. I've accidentally ordered the wrong water pump, which is totally my fault. When it arrived, I sort of looked at it and recognised it looking like my 10H engine. So it's for a 2.25 petrol, not a 200 TDI. I think it was my fault. I'll take the blame. I don't really mind. I've got big enough shoulders to take it. And there's things I forgot to order: a rocker cover gasket. I've got some parts to go into the top. I've got some of the tappets to go in if it needs it. So I've got the rocker cover's coming off. Obviously the engine is hanging out. It needs a damn good clean anyway. So I'm going to be doing that as well. But what I should have done is washed it prior to bringing it in. But at the moment I didn't want to take my engine off my engine stand to wheel it out, and it's just a whole palaver. So I'm going to clean it as best as I can in the workshop. You can see I've got it on the Smithy's Mate, or you probably can't, but it's on the Smithy's Mate because it's big and sturdy, and the crane is still there just to hold it, and it's sat on the sump quite happily, and it's good for me to spin it, rotate it around, so I can check the timing marks on the flywheel to make sure the crankshaft's in the right place, and the fuel pump and the camshaft as well once we get all this off. So to that end, I'm not going to do everything. Well, for me, I'm not going to do everything tonight. I don't want to start. If I would start a job, I want to do it all the way through. So I'm taking off the ancillaries, like the fan that's already come off. The water pump's going to come off in a moment, and I'm just going to start getting everything ready to do the timing belt cover. I need to go to visit my friend Kev, who's got my bearing puller, because I tried to knock this off earlier and it wasn't budging. So I'd rather just get my bearing puller. I can get it behind here, and I can pull the whole lot off in one go. So there's odds and sods that I need to be doing, and I'll film as much as I can, and I'll let you know where I'm roughly at. So sit back, relax, and enjoy me messing about. So that's the water pump off and cleaned up. It's not come up too badly. I'm very surprised at how clean actually the waterway is, because you would have thought a vehicle of this sort of mileage and age, because this is from 94, everything would be a bit cruddy, and actually I'm very surprised. All the bolts come out nice and cleanly as well. I don't think this engine's been apart, but I do think it has been very well looked after. So now I'm at a bit of a standstill because the crankshaft pulley needs to come off, and also I need to sort of time it up and make sure I'm using the right marks. And obviously I don't want to tell you guys what I'm doing if I'm doing it wrong, because that's no good for anybody. I think the top dead center mark on the pulley is about right, but I just want to... Oh yeah, I know it is. The Woodruff key is vertical for number one to be at top dead center, and I've just quickly whipped out the bolt to see, and it is. So that's good. But unfortunately I'm at a standstill now because I can't get my bearing puller until a bit later on. So I'm going to leave this here for today. I'll tidy up, and then we'll come back tomorrow where we'll hopefully be going right the way through, doing all the timing and what have you with the pins. I don't have the correct timing kit. I know there are locking pins for the flywheel and for the fuel pump, but hopefully we're going to sort of manage a way around it. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. As long as all the timing marks add up, and I'll show you a trick that I do, especially with belted engines. And then what we'll do is that we'll go from there. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow. So now I've got it all off and all separated. Probably put up a little bit of fight, but you would expect that from being nearly, well, over 20 years old. So you can see the differences between the old one and the new one. The rubber is starting to crack in here, and it's only a matter of time before this starts buggering off at a rate of knots. So whilst we're here, we'll replace it with a beautiful new one from Baymac. And it's from Baymac, so nothing to worry about. So I'll build this up now, and then it's done. And then we'll start ripping into the rest of it. So now I've got the front cover off, and you've just seen me just quickly clean off most of the gasket schmoo. And actually it's not looking too bad. There's a little bit of rubber and oil mix, and obviously you can't see the marks on the back of the timing cover, but I'll clean them off. I haven't got the proper dowel pins to lock it in, but what I do have is a 9.5mm drill bit, and luckily as it's at top dead center, this slots in straight away, which is nice. So that's locked in place, and I can lock in the crankshaft, sorry, on the back. And just make sure that's in the right place. One thing that I like to do, and it looks like this has been replaced in the past because there's marks already on the pulleys. I like to mark one on each sort of gear or cog or whatever, and then count the teeth from one to each point, from here all the way down around to here to sort of top dead center, as just a bit of a thing for myself, so I know it's in the same thing. I'll take photographs so I can reference back to it if I need to, and also it's something, one of those random pictures that you'll have that people go, oh, I don't know how many teeth it's meant to be. So at least people ask me. I don't know if they ask you. Who knows? So yeah, so I'm going to mark it up now. I'm going to tidy up. I'm going to get the airline in here and blow all of this crap out, because as we know, I don't need it in there. It just makes the whole job dirty. And we'll go from there. The belt looks okay. It looks in fairly good condition. There's no rips. It's not fraying or anything. So I'm quite happy with the condition of it. And what I might do, just look at the gasket for the timing cover onto the block. Looks good. So I don't want to disturb it anymore. So yeah, we'll have a look at that in a moment. I'll have a look at the gasket. If I've got the gaskets, it's one of those things I might change it, but I prefer not to, because I don't want to break into it anymore and go a bit too in depth. But if it happens, doesn't it? So yeah, so what I'll do now is I'll mark it all up and take some photographs, and we'll go from there. So before I started doing all of started taking this apart, I noticed that the tensioner pulley wasn't quite in the right place. I'll try and put a picture up of what I've taken before, but it's a good job that we're doing this and inspecting this, because this pivot wasn't on the dowel. It was sat underneath, and goodness knows how they've tensioned it. I suppose it was pushing against it, but it wasn't tensioned in the right place. So I've just had a look, and actually... that is how I'd sort of noticed it, but didn't really think much of it in case it was correct. But no, this tensioner pulley is meant to be on that dowel and use that as a pivot rather than how on earth it was tensioned before. But it worked, and it's a good job that we did see this, and we'll have a look. The bearing sounds okay. It's not too bad. But now I've slackened it all off. The crankshaft's in place, and obviously I've put a paint marker on the dot for the camshaft and ensure that's in the right place. And obviously I've marked and locked the fuel pump, so the fuel pump can't rotate, because if any of these get misaligned or I'm a tooth out, it could have catastrophic effect on the engine. We could have piston to valve interference, or it just won't run right. And obviously I want this to be drop in and just go. I don't want to be farting on doing this again. So do it once, do it well. One of my fabled mottos. And yeah, we'll just carry on. So I'm going to carry on. I'm going to take off the idler pulley, and then we'll have a look, have a good look around, make sure everything's nice and clean and tidy, and then we'll start going on from there. But at the moment, everything seems to be okay. It's just that is the only thing that I found wrong. Me pulling the engine out. That is the only thing at the moment that I've sort of found that was incorrect. So who knows? Hopefully, it's just going to be a good engine, and I suspect it is. I've got no other reasons to think otherwise. But we'll carry on. We'll rip it all apart. We'll clean it up, and we'll hopefully get this done fairly soon. So I've just taken off the belt and the idler pulley, and I've just fitted the new one. Sounds good. Okay. I think that this belt could possibly be an original one, as it's got the old Land Rover decal on there, and it is a proper Land Rover genuine part, which is good. But like I said, it's still in really good condition. There's no cracks or anything, so I'm quite pleased with that. I think this engine has been looked after. So what we've got is I've got the Baymax kit, and the full kit comes with the idler pulley, tensioner pulley, the belt, the gasket for the timing cover, and the water pump gasket. So it is a complete order it and don't worry about all the other gaskets that you need. It's a really good kit. So between my two markers between here and here is 17 teeth, and between this marker and this marker down here is 28. And I quite like that. It's just an extra belt and braces sort of thing. So for me to start, I'm going to start at the fuel pump, working my way across, get it around the back. It's going to be quite tight, and then all the slack is going to be down here at the tensioner. I'm going to put the belt on, and I'll put the tensioner pulley on. Tension up so far. We'll do 2 full rotations of the engine to make sure that it is timed up correctly, and then we'll tighten it up properly as per all the torque specs and everything. And I'll put them, I'll talk about them when I get somewhere near. Okay, so I've just got back from lunch, and we all know how much I like lunch. And I've done some research and found the correct torque settings for the tensioner, the bolts, and everything else that's around the bazaars. So everything that I've disturbed is, we got this 13mm bolt here, and the 15 one in here for the idler. Both of them are set between 40 and 50 Newton meters, and the tensioner is 18 to 20 Newton meters for a new belt. So I've set it up with my other torque engine. I haven't got. They recommend using a sort of torsion bar, you know, the one with the needle on it, and you can sort of, as you apply pressure, the needle sort of moves up and down the gauge. I don't have one of them, so I've set it up with exactly what they said not to use. Is a clicky one. So I set it to 18, 19 Newton meters, and then just as it started to click, I then tightened it up. So I'll just show you. So this is 13. Quickly go around. Perfect. And then 15 on the other one. So that's all done now. Quite happy with that. I've cleaned up the mating surface, ready for the new gasket. This is all nice and clean. And at the moment, I'm trying to get future-proof. I'm trying to get these 3 screws out, because in case anything needs to be, whether we tune it in the future, we may need to tweak the fuel pump a little bit. And if we do need to advance or retard it, it'd be good to get this gasket and make sure that this is loose, rather than trying to fanny on with it in the engine bay. So whilst it's out, I've cleaned up the back. It just needs finishing off. You can see the WD-40 that's been soaking in there over lunch, and we'll get out. Obviously, I'll replace this bottom seal as well. I've got it all. It's all come in the Baymax kit, with a bottom end gasket kit. So I'll endeavour to get these 3 screws out. Once they're out, we'll do the seal, you know how to do seals, but I'll show you anyway. Throw this back on, and then we're going to start looking at taking the inlet and exhaust manifolds off, because I'm going to change the core plugs down the sides and the two at the rear. And yeah, we'll just plod on. But I think for today we'll get this all on, and then I'll do that in a separate episode. So I got those screws out. There. I don't know why on earth you put Phillips screwdrivers in a place where you're going to get filled with crap, and they would corrode. Although they are coated, which is nice, they were still a pain in the ass to get out. So I've got them out. I've cleaned up the plate. The plate was quite rusty on this side, so I've cleaned it up a bit. Obviously new gasket. I'm going to replace it with some stainless steel bolts, because I don't know why on earth you put Phillips head screws, especially that size. I mean, who has that size in their toolbox? Well, unless you've got a toolbox similar to mine, but you don't take it with you, do you? So I'll replace these, copper slip them in, new gasket, pop it all on, job will be a good one. Let's do it. So there we have it, the front cover's back on, and whilst I was there I also changed the damper, mounted the front pulley to the damper, and then obviously threw it all together. The timing mark lines up with the strengthening rib on the front, which is good. Obviously new gasket, and I put on, to hold the gasket on whilst I was putting everything on, I used some held tight, which I've just started using recently off some recommendations from very good friends of mine. So, and that's very good actually, and what I've used it on in the past, it's worked really well so far. So I just put it on there just to hold the gasket on. I didn't put a massive thick layer on because you don't need to, but it was just enough to hold it all together. Next I'm going to move on to removing the inlet and exhaust manifolds, because I've got to do the core plugs. I'm in two minds. If I end the episode now, I decide to split it. If I don't end the episode now, I decided not to. Fairly simple, isn't it? But that's it. The timing cover's done, and the timing belt's done, which I'm really happy about. I've placed an order with Baymac for a new water pump, and I've double checked it and triple checked it, so it is the right one. And I've got a couple of odds and ends coming as well, like rocker cover gasket, because I didn't get one of them. The half moons are in the bottom end gasket kit. I've got the top ones coming as well. And just random odds and sods just for me to get this all done. So that's probably about it. Just in case, I will end this episode here. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you do enjoy this sort of thing and the stuff that I'm doing here. If you do, let us know down below in the old comment. Anything that I've used today, I'm going to leave a link to Baymac, because there normally will be. Don't forget to have a look at our Instagram for what we're doing more up to date. Obviously, doing YouTube videos takes a little bit more time than the Instagram posts. But that's what we're up to. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye now.